Ciao a tutti. Chin chin to you. Happy holidays. We're getting ready for a great show for you today, talking about Italian traditions and also here in Sicily.
And Alpha's getting filled up with a little jet fuel
What are you having today?
today. My VAT 69.
Ooh.
Hot, a little chilly day. Why not?
We're coming to you in early December to talk to you about some of the festivities that happen here in Sicily and Italy, starting about December 8th, the Immaculate Conception, going all the way to the Epiphany, January 6th, which is also La Befana. Lots of celebrations happening all over Sicily and Italy, and also some great Christmas markets.
This is the kickoff. What is it called?
Kickoff, the Immaculate Conception.
I always call it the Immaculate Reception. That's when Doug Flutie threw that pass to Gerard Phelan when BC beat Miami way long time ago.
So December 8th is a public holiday here in Italy, and usually families go out and look at the nativity scenes and also the beautiful Christmas decorations that will adorn every single town here in Sicily. So also it is the time for people to put up their Christmas tree, although we put up ours right after Thanksgiving.
You know, the American tradition of putting up your stuff around Thanksgiving and Black Friday sales and so forth is creeping into Italy.
For sure.
Let's be real about that. We noticed it more and more and more every year. We've noticed Cyber Monday sales and stuff like that. So, you know, the whole thing of globalization really has hit the Italians pretty good. But that said, December the 8th is really the official kickoff, and historically has always been.
And it's such a beautiful time of the year. There's going to be nativity scenes all over the place. But the thing that I love about the nativity scenes here in Italy is that it's not just your typical scene of Jesus, the three wise men, and Mary and Joseph, but they also have other characters in there. So, for example, for all the professions, they'll have the bread maker, the wine maker, the cheese maker, someone from the pharmacy. In fact, I showed you one scene of a nativity scene where they had all those professions, and I'll leave you a link in the description to this video. But it's really fascinating, and a lot of work goes into nativity scenes. We have a lot of people that we know that make them handmade, not just the ones from China.
There is no excessive entanglements between church and state in Italy, okay? You could have a nativity scene on a town hall. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is a national holiday. A religious day, right, is a national holiday. It reflects, it's a reflection of the very high percentage of Catholics, still, vast majority in Italy.
Okay, and then after the 8th of December, the next big celebration here in Sicily, and especially in Siracusa, is Santa Lucia. Now, in the United States, you may not have heard of Santa Lucia, but she's really, really big here. She was martyred in the year 300, so she's one of the first female martyred saints, right after St. Agatha of Catania. And the story, you know, there's always a legend or a story about all these saints, but the legend has it that she was born to a rich family in Siracusa. Her dad died at an early age, and her mother was a little bit ill, and she feared for her daughter's future, so she had arranged marriage with a Roman soldier. But Santa Lucia consecrated her virginity to Jesus and promised to give her dowry over to all to the poor. Well, in her sleep one night, St. Agatha, who was martyred 50 years earlier, came to her in her dreams and said, "Don't worry, Lucia, your mother's going to be fine. Give out your dowry to the poor." And so she did just that. And she angered the Romans at the time, who ordered her martyred, and she died with a sword to the throat. But there's another story, Alfred, that one of the Roman soldiers, one of the Roman emperors at the time, fell in love with her and loved her eyes, but she refused his advances. And one night she pulled her eyes out and handed her eyes over in a platter. So she's the patron saint of eyes and the throat. And what are some of the traditional foods?
Well, you know, she's very famous in the United States too. Don't get me wrong. As a matter of fact, one of the parishes right by us is called St. Lucy's. St. Lucy's Parish. Lucia is Lucy in the United States of America. And yes, okay, so St. Lucy is a big day.
Yeah.
What else we have?
Well, first of all, one of the foods that you eat during St. Lucy's Day is stuff with wheat, boiled wheat, anything from wheat, because in the 1500s there was a famine and the people went and prayed to Santa Lucia, and miraculously wheat appeared and they saved they saved the community from famine. So she's also the patron saint of famine.
She's one of the saints that I, at nighttime when I do my meditation, I always remember her and Agatha and Rosalie. Those are the three biggest, I believe, right?
Yeah.
The three biggest in Italy. If I'm forgetting, in Sicily. If I'm forgetting.
Female ones. Yeah.
Female ones. Yeah.
So that's Santa Lucia. And then the next big festival
Wait a minute, before we talk about the next
Yeah.
big festival, everybody, I could tell that everybody's been admiring my hat. Look at this. Our hats arrived. I got a package, and my Yumi and Sicily hat arrived, and I really like it. Doesn't it look nifty on
I
me?
love it.
I
And
have
it's
this
embroidered.
I have this, and I have red. I have two colors. We only have 20 left. I was informed by Jen. There's only 20 left. They're $19 each. If you buy two, I'll take off another $2. So.
And how about the T-shirts and long
Yeah, we have
sleeve
the
shirts?
T-shirts and all this other stuff. But today I wanted to just show you the hats.
I love it.
It's a snazzy color. That's an embroidery. That's not a silk screen, and it fits me. And I have a big head too, so buy a hat. What?
It looks good. All right, and then the next big festival is, of course, Christmas Eve, where people go to Mass. And typically what happens is they have sort of an easy dinner that day, that night, scacciata or pizza. Those are traditional things to eat on Christmas Eve. Alfred, what are some of the traditional things that you guys ate Christmas Eve in your hometown of Lawrence, in Massachusetts?
Okay. Let's just press rewind here for a second. And on Christmas Eve, I have yet to see 7 fishes on any Sicilian table. So in my research, and I could be wrong, but the last time I was wrong was when I thought I had made a mistake, there is no feast of the 7 fishes in Sicily.
Yeah.
Period. Okay? This is more of a New York, New Jersey, kind of like East Coast thing that evolved over the year. It's, kind of like your old gravy versus sauce thing that those people from Jersey have, because they couldn't say sauce. All they could say was gravy, so that's how we got gravy.
Come on, you don't want to alienate those guys. We love all of you guys. All right, so back to my question. What are some of the traditional foods you had? Not Christmas Day, Christmas Eve.
Well, it wasn't just one day, as it was a whole week of festivities prior to Christmas Eve. I mean, in one of my books I called it the 7 days of Christmas coming up, but it really started with my own man, my father, God rest his soul, right after Thanksgiving, when he brought in that frozen tree that was 440 feet long and planted it in the center of the living room. It was frozen solid. In those days, the trees were frozen solid. And
Did you guys help decorate?
Well, first, what he did was he had to cut the tree into the base, and that guy would cut the top of the tree off. So we always had a flat top on the tree, which of course started fight number 1. That was fight number 1, okay, with him and my mother. So you put the tree in, and then after 3 or 4 days, the thing would open up, and then my father the second thing that he would do after that is put the lights on, okay?
But wait, did you guys help decorate?
Wait a second, let me just tell the story. Ultimately, the answer is maybe. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I go to therapy about this. Anyways, what he did is he would put the lights on, and he would put different types of light. My favorite lights were the ones, I don't know if you guys remember this, as they got hot, they were glass tube, they would bubble up. And then he'd have the other ones, okay? And once that was up, then he would allow the kids, that'd be me, Tommy, and Anna, we would be able to put the Christmas bubbles, we used to call them bubbles, put the bubbles up on the bottom of the tree, and then him and my mom would do the top of the tree, and then they would put the star on top. But the coup de grace, so to speak, would be he used to call it tinsel. The tinsel on the tree. Did you call it tinsel? What did you call it? That silver stuff that hangs off? And it was like lead. It was made out of lead, I swear to God. So anyways, by the time the tree was quote-unquote decorated, it was really dying because all the branches were filled. And sure enough, By the time the 1st of January come around, there wouldn't be any needles on the tree because the thing would be like dead as a
He
doornail.
didn't put it into some
Oh,
kind of a
yeah.
container,
Oh,
and you
yeah.
guys didn't have to water it?
Oh yeah. As I got older, I remember in the 70s, this is funny as hell. My father went to Walmart and he saw a tree there on sale, an artificial tree for $65. So he went up to the guy and he said, it was all decked out with everything, you name it, right? He says, I want that tree. And the guy at Walmart said, well, I'm sorry, but that's a display. We don't have any more trees. My father says, no, it says over there $65 for that tree, and it's got the lights on it and the thing. He made such a big stink. He came home, I'm swear to God, it had to be a $250 tree for $65. And
That's
we used
awesome.
that. He ran the table with it till he died, that same damn tree and everything at night, till he died. That's a great story. Okay, how about in Hungary? Tell me about in Hungary.
Well, not in Hungary. I was living in the United States. I have such beautiful memories of Christmas. We always got a live tree, and it was an edible tree, Alfred, because my mom
A
would
live
make-
edible tree?
No, it was decorated with Christmas cookies. For example,
Okay.
For example, this mix, it's called hopjoke, and it's made with the egg whites and a little bit of sugar. And my mom would make them round, and we'd hang them on the tree. So around the tree, there would be these candies hanging up. And the funny thing is, oh my God! So right before Christmas, we had the tree up about a week before Christmas, and my sisters and I would open these up, take the candy out, and wrap it back up to pretend that no one touched it. It was such a fun tradition, and to this day, we do that. We open these up, sneak a few in, and especially get them from the back, and then close it so my mom would be able to tell. But, one of the other things that we decorated the tree with such handmade traditional things that we bought from Hungary, or my sisters and I made with different themes. Of course, I played the cello, so there's always a cello over there, a piano. My sister played the piano, a sled that I made that we have here at the house.
Yep.
And the room always smelled of pine, and it was such a beautiful thing. I love decorating the Christmas tree. So those are some of my recollections. And of course, my mom would make a big dinner on Christmas Eve and also on Christmas Day. Now, traditionally in Hungary, you get the gifts on Christmas Eve, which is also something that they do here in Italy. So Christmas Eve was our big, big day of celebration.
For some of you veterans like myself, you old school people, I'm sure you got to remember these little things I'm going to talk about right now. We had in our house, my mom used to deck the house out. Big difference, okay? We used to put the candles up in in Lawrence, a single candle with a white bulb in all our windows.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the kids' job at nighttime, was to screw them in tight. And then before we went to bed, we had to unscrew them. That was one thing. The second thing was, of course, our famous cardboard chimney that they would sell. It was a cardboard chimney.
Yeah.
And I have a picture of it someplace where it's just cardboard. That's all it was. And it had a little imitation fire log in front of it that, so you had that. You didn't, not just my house had it, every house had it. And of course, in those days, we didn't have these big stereo systems or iPods like they do today. We had 33 RPM records, okay, in this thing. I don't know what they called it, but it was a combination TV, stereo, and radio. Everybody had them in the 50s and the 60s. And we had all the traditional songs,
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Doris Day, and all the Fred Astaire, and it would be great. And the other thing would be watching the old black and white Christmas movies, which I still do.
That's
I love them.
One of the big things too in our family, that we had the Christmas songs, but we had them in Hungarian and also in English. One other thing.
They have them here too, Christmas
One
movies.
other thing that we know Saint Nicholas, here it's Babbo Natale, and on Christmas Eve, when we were young, because it wasn't my mom and dad that bought the gifts. It was Babbo Natale, it was Santa Claus, and she would ring a bell when it was time to come because the gifts have been delivered. So that was a very, very important memory. The other thing is that we had those Advent calendars where each day we would open up and there would be a little bit of a chocolate countdown to Christmas. That was such a beautiful memory. And I see a lot of stores here in Italy also have those calendars where the kids can open them up and it's a countdown to Christmas.
You know, another vivid memory that I have, I'm sure my brother Tommy has, is that my father used to hire, God rest his soul, what a nice guy. His name was Harry Gabor. He was a truck driver at Jackson Lumber Company where my dad worked, to be Santa Claus, all right? And he would come in and, you know, we would sit on his lap. We would like flip out that Santa Claus was there. He'd have his sack and stuff. And then after Harry stopped, we got somebody else who used to have a few nips beforehand. And I remember the guy used to come in cocked. But the best guy is the guy that my brother Tommy has. My brother Tommy has this fellow that we've known for years. We both love him very much. A teacher at Amesbury High School, a retired teacher. His name is Noon, okay? What a great Santa Claus he does for my grandkids, my brother's grandkids, and he comes now every single year.
It's a great tradition.
Noon,
Very great
what a
tradition.
Great thing for the kids.
I want to know about you guys, how you celebrate Christmas, what kind of traditions you had growing up that you perhaps passed on to your family. I'm very interested about that. All right, and of course the next one is Christmas Day.
No, we have to talk about food for Christmas Eve. I didn't finish.
I asked you 10 times.
Okay, we had, I had to set the stage over here, you know, it's not that.
All right,
okay.
Christmas Eve.
We had allegedly fish, okay? I mean,
you did?
Not the
you don't
7
even like,
fishes,
You don't
but
even like fish.
my father was, at least he was smart. He used to get lobsters, have big stuffed lobsters. Okay, that's a good fish. Anybody that doesn't like a big stuffed lobster, ooh, all right, is nuts. So that's a good fish. He would have, I don't know what else he'd have, some pasta with some stuff in it, fish, like maybe clams. Yeah. That's okay, okay? He would have bacala or storko, depending on how you call it, a little bit of that. And then there'd be other stuff, which I hated, eels. Did you ever have eels?
Yeah, we had eels before.
I couldn't eat those guys.
Eels are very popular
fish.
Here in Sicily.
Right.
Very popular.
And you know, I'll never forget the story Pete Messina told me about eating eels. Why do they eat eels? Do you remember that story? Because over here, pool people eat eels, and the eels are found close to the...
Easy to catch.
Easy to catch, close to the shore.
Yeah.
So that tradition of eating eels, that's how the tradition started in Europe, Italy especially, of eating eels. And today people...
Well, not just eels. So what happens is Christmas Eve, they have the scacciata, the pizza, and so forth. And then a big pranzo for Christmas Day. And that can include tons of antipasto. For example, I was talking to our neighbor. He said, you know, we have the cheese, the salamis, the olives, and then you have a primi. You have definitely a lasagna. 2 other types of pasta. He has pasta alla forno is one of the things that he likes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have the fish or meats, but it is an abundant, beautiful display of lots of food on Christmas Day. Meanwhile, in our house... Christmas Day. Meanwhile, in our house growing up, that was the leftover day because we had a big meal at Christmas Eve. Usually my mom made a challah, which is a traditional Jewish bread, a little bit of a sweet bread, and also ham with baked potatoes. And
now that's kind of interesting. Jewish bread with ham.
Well, my dad was Jewish.
Jewish bread with ham?
Challah is a traditional Jewish bread.
So he must have been like right on the fences in terms of what his dietary things were.
So in any case, then we had bagli, which we did a whole video with my mom on how to make traditional Hungarian bagli, which is stuffed with poppy seed cream or with some kind of a hazelnut cream. But I'll leave a link to that video also on the description. It was a really fun video with my mom. So that's our traditional Christmas Day and Christmas Eve
Christmas
foods.
Day, my mom would start off with a soup. I don't know what kind. It had escarole in it called scalota and chicken broth and maybe pastina, something like that. That'd be the first course, and then you'd have a pasta, some type of a pasta with the second course, and then the third course would rotate depending on what people wanted. But it could be a turkey, another turkey.
Yeah.
It could be a ham, another ham. But I remember one time my father, listen to this. This is a hilarious story. My old man, he was a piece of work, that guy, right? I love him, God rest his soul. And he used to like the nags, okay, going to the race, the nags, the racetrack. He used to go to, my father would bet on two flies crossing the street, God rest his soul. But he had some money at Rockingham Park Christmas week. I'll never forget that as long as I live. He came in and he threw like $50 bills into the air in front of the Christmas tree. He says, we're going to have a great tree. So anyways, he ended up buying some steak, filet mignon steak, okay? Now, of course, with the blizzard outside, it was impossible to light up the charcoal grill, right? So he buys one of those small little Coleman, you know, the small ones that you go camping with, the small ones, right? And he says to me, I'm like 16 years old, he says, Alfred, put it on. I said, okay, put it together. So I put it together. I put the little canister like this, right? And he says, okay, light it up. So what I did was I turned the gas on, but I forgot to light it up.
Oh, my God.
So my father went outside. He says, you idiot. Well, he didn't call me an idiot. He called me something worse. He says, you didn't light it up. And he put a match and he threw it like this.
Oh, no.
And then all of a sudden we hear, boom, right? He came in. He had black stuff all over his face. He was gonna, but they were great steaks, though. God rest Sonny Zappola. God rest you. So that was one of my favorite Christmas stories of all.
All right. So then the next big celebration is Santo Stefano, which is on the 26th of December. Again, a public holiday. In England, they call it Boxing Day, but it's actually a public holiday.
Who's King Wenceslas?
Huh?
Good King Wenceslas came down on the feast of Stephen. Right?
Yeah.
Is that the same guy?
That's the same guy.
He was the first martyr of the Catholic
Stefano.
Church, I believe. See, I think that's who Stephen was. He was the first Christian martyr.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the day after Christmas, right?
Right. That's the 26th.
Okay.
And then the next big one, of course,
Wait.
is...
Did you celebrate that? I never
in Hungary,
celebrated that.
Yes. Yeah.
You did?
In Hungary, yeah, it's a religious holiday.
No, but did you celebrate it in your house?
No, not in our house. No. Oh.
My mother was sick and tired of stuff. By the time the 26th was, she didn't want to hear about more
Well,
food.
we had a different...
You eat the leftovers. You have the stuff from Friday night. You have the stuff from Saturday.
We had a very big celebration in our house. It was my sister's birthday is December 26th. So that was the big celebration for us.
That's unconstitutional. When I get to be king, I'm going to outlaw kids having birthdays from the 20th to the 30th because they always get... They would get screwed. Say screwed, that's a better word. They would get screwed out of a present. Unless you get two presents, one for your birthday and one for Christmas. But one would always be not as good as the other present.
Of course. Okay. And of course, then it's Capo de Año, New Year's Eve. And it's traditional, believe it or not, to have pig's feet. Yeah, pig's feet. They're already selling it.
Where,
at
here?
their store. Yeah, in Italy. And lentil soup. Why lentil soup? Because
At midnight.
At midnight, because it's shaped like a coin and it exemplifies richness.
Yeah, but listen, not everybody I know, actually, frankly,
no, it's just
nobody I know.
Symbolic.
Okay,
symbolic.
so what do they usually have? They usually have pizza.
They have, pizza,
Unless you go to a
scacciata is a big one. Remember we went to New Year's Eve at the Excelsior and we had all types of foods, appetizers, main course, and then boom, at midnight came out the lentil
Yeah, but that
soup.
was no pig's feet at that. That was an unbelievable
that was quite the display.
feast at the Excelsior.
With music.
There must have been 407 different, different things to eat, courses.
Yeah,
and,
that was
and they paired up
exquisite.
so many wines. I was completely trashed, and so was she, by the way.
Whoa!
Whoa! Get out! We got a text, unbelievable. Did you see that
not
bee?
a drone. That was like a humongous bee.
I think that was a killer bee.
Oh my God, that scared
That was a big...
living, you know what, out of me.
Holy smoke.
All right, so
you have to
that's
take that out.
Christmas Eve. Why? Leave it in.
Right.
Christmas Eve. So that was Christmas Eve. And then, of course, Christmas
That was
Day.
funny is what it was.
Christmas Day is a time with...
Christmas Day, you mean New Year's Day.
Excuse me. And then, of course, New Year's Day is a time with family, friends, a relaxed time. So those are some of the things. And, traditionally, also in Hungary, we have you have to eat 12 grapes, one for each month, and it brings good luck. That's what we do in our house. So that's a little bit of New Year's Eve. I'm wondering what you guys are doing this New Year's Eve. Let's
Wait
see.
a minute. One more thing
Yeah.
I have to say.
What?
From Thanksgiving to like the end of December,
Yep.
we always had a big nut bowl
And
on
dried fruit.
of dried nuts like hazelnuts, walnuts,
Us too.
almonds, and then on the side there'd be chestnuts. Did you guys have that?
And we had the dried fruits.
The dried fruits too.
Always.
The dates rolled,
the
yeah.
apricots. We love those.
Yep.
All right, and then
They
to
have those things
round
here,
up,
too.
Of
They
course
have-
they
they
do.
have those
right
things
now,
here,
the
too.
figs are out, the dried figs.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love the dates and,
And
the
the dried
figs. I'm
figs.
glad. I'm gonna have to.
That's something we have in common as well.
What?
And then the next one is Epiphany, which is also La Befana. You guys know La Befana? She's
That's
that
just-
ugly little witch that's supposed to bring gifts to the kids, either chocolate or coal, depending if they were naughty or nice. And you know the story behind her?
You
When
can tell it. I do.
The three
but
wise men,
the Magi's.
the Magi, stayed with her before finding Jesus and bringing him the gifts. And then they asked her to come with them. And first she said no. And then later on, after they left, she decided she was going to go. And she traveled around on a broom. But she couldn't find the lights where Jesus was. And she had a bag of gifts. So she ended up giving it to the poor kids. So that's the story of the La Befana.
I feel
love
bad
her
for her
little one.
because she was kind of rude to the three Magi. I mean, they had come all the way from the
They
Levant,
stayed with
from
her.
the Mid-East, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
With gold and frankincense and I don't know, there was a
to bring
third
to
spice
Jesus. Yep.
to give to Jesus, and she was too busy cleaning up. But then after they left, guided to the North Star, she felt guilty, and to this day.
That's
She's
why
still
she
looking
brings.
around for that, and so she
That's
leaves
right.
things for the kids. That's what she
That's-
gives things. And who leaves the thing of coal is
She does.
no Santa Claus. If you're naughty or nice,
No, but here it's La Befana. You either get
She leaves
coal,
coal?
you either get coal or you get chocolates. That's the La Befana. So I
man,
love
if
that.
anybody ever
I
give
love
me
these
coal, I'd
traditions.
stretch them right out. Whoop. No coal for this guy.
You
That's
know
for
what?
sure.
December is one of my favorite months here, and then Easter's also great. But December is a beautiful time here in
It's
Sicily.
not so much the spirit. It's the spirit of giving more than
Yeah.
it is. I take great joy in giving away stuff, and so does Esther. Okay, we did a very nice job this year with the Sicilian project, giving money to a bunch of charities, and if God wants, we'll continue it into 2022. But it was very gratifying for her to contact the priest, for example, who had a roof blown off on his church, and inform him that we're sending him money to help out, like we did to
Yeah.
one guy, and to the other guy in Catania who didn't have enough money to put on the lights in his church.
And
we-
then the other church
and we
that's
said-
going to be feeding 200
and another
people
guy that's
for
yeah.
lunch,
So
Christmas
for us,
Day.
Warren Buffett. I listened to Warren Buffett. He says, you know what's better than earning a vast amount of money? This is just I heard him say yesterday.
Is
He
giving
said,
it out.
giving it away.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the spirit of Christmas, I think it's important that you think about those less fortunate. And I'm serious now.
Yeah.
No joking around here. A few years ago, we went around giving away 50 euro bills to people. Okay? We stopped doing that for a lot of reasons, but I remember people were just, they
Stunned.
couldn't believe
Yeah.
that we were doing that.
You know, Alfred, talk about giving. My parents always brought us up in taking a third for yourself, a third for savings, and a third to charity. So that is something that I was brought up on, and I love doing that as well.
Christians believe in what they call the tithe, Tithe, which was mandatory up until, I don't know, the 16th or 17th century, where you had to give to the church 10% of your earnings. What a racket. These churches, I'm telling you, whether it's the Byzantine church or the Latin church, right, they had a racket going, a serious racket going. Okay, they were getting 10%, a 10% cut from everybody. Everybody. Right? Plus, they passed
All
the
right.
collection,
On that note,
Please.
thank you
Now,
so
wait
much
a minute, wait a
for
minute.
watching this video.
I have more to
Stay
say.
tuned. Stay tuned. We have many more videos coming to you. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you on another episode. And Alfred, no, not
Wait a
one more
minute.
thing.
One
Not
more
one
thing.
more
Esther,
thing.
I always give out one
All
more
right,
thing.
one more
Okay,
thing.
Here we go. Listen, we like to have fun, okay? And we interspace our fun by showing you pictures and telling stories and stuff like that, okay? So now 2022 is coming, so we'd like to get you to be our sponsor for either a corporate sponsor, your business, or a private sponsor. Now there's going to be a little thing over there that if you'd like to be a sponsor, follow this link and it'll bring you to Esther. And she'll tell you all about it. Okay, so
All
I
right.
thought this was a good little historical thing today, E.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Chin chin, you all. See
Si
you another
benedica.
video. Ciao.
Ciao.